So, just as a preamble, I'm going to ask you, Steve. Tell me why Hibakusha. Why did you want to write Hibakusha?
I remember Barry asking me about possibly writing a script on bullying, and there was some other mad idea I was working on at the same time about, I don't know where it came from, I don't know, a Hiroshima club where these people met and talked about the bomb dropping. And then when it was mentioned about the bullying, everything else suddenly seemed to need a connection back to Hiroshima. There came a time when I suddenly realised I was writing about contemporary and what people call in film social realism, and dealing with certain people in a certain time in their life. And again, it was also the same with Watching Strangers. It's people that are up against the impossible and have no real reserves or power to deal with the situations themselves, and yet they still try to cope.
I'm wondering now whether we're putting people off by making out that Hibakusha is such a dark ride, and you know, truth be known, it is a bit of a dark ride. Can you offer any words of hope to a potential reader?
Well, let's get to the last line. It's all in the last line.
So it's important to mention, I think, that that's the beginning of our collaboration, wasn't it? Watching Strangers, which was a 10-minute short for Central TV. So what we can do is we'll put Watching Strangers onto YouTube so people can see that and see the similarities between that and the book if they choose to. But since then, you've gone on to make a couple of feature films with Kamal Yildirim.
Kamal done one feature film and 2 shorts. The Rose, the feature film, is again a social realism. It's based on a true story. It's about a girl that was trapped into prostitution, and about the control of crime. It's and really seeing it as an invisible society that's alongside us all the time, and we cross in and out of that world without knowing it. So the main thing I did, which moved away from that in the film Rose, was to actually make it a world where you never see the police, you never see the emergency services, you never see the other society.
And following on from that, you've now done a play with Genevieve Cleghorn, isn't it? Which is Asena. Seems to be in very similar territory.
And Asena is about sex trafficking. We researched it. CARE, Salvation Army, Stop the Traffic, and it just relates to an Albanian that had been trafficked into the country, coming towards the end of her usefulness as a prostitute, and in our freedom from a client, and she tells her story through various forms and scenes. And again, it is someone with up against everything, and sadly, in the facts of that is there's no way out.
Going back to Hibakusha, because it has been a long journey for this piece. It's been through many incarnations, hasn't it? It's about 10 years or so.
Yeah, it was 1998, was it? Yeah, I think that it was discussed as a film script.
And since then, it's been through. What other forms has Hibakusha taken?
It won the Daphne du Maurier Literary Prize. It was the first person to win the prize. The first place it was ever actually published was New Zealand. After New Zealand, it was published in the States in the Newport Review, and finally a small press English publisher took it. In Dreamcatcher. It was a reading, and that was the Radio Worldwide Netherlands, which is broadcast in English throughout the world, and it won their audiobook prize for 2008. So that was encouraging in its way, but it wasn't published, and I just left it. Until you suggested it.
Well, yeah, maybe I should say something about why Threshold decided to publish Hibakusha as its first digital novel. And the main reason was because it represents for Threshold what our publishing initiative is all about. And it's all about unique voices that have got something powerful to say, strong writing, but not necessarily commercial enough for a mainstream publisher to take a risk on in these dark times of austerity. So, you know, where the big guys can't take that risk, we're ideally placed to take that risk. And partly that's because we're a bit naive and don't quite know what we're doing, but also partly it's because the technology now makes it so easy to put out a paperback or to upload a Kindle version, and as a consequence you can now buy this book, Hibakusha by Steve Loveless, is now available on Amazon Kindle, and it's also available via our eBay shop, and details for connecting to those places will appear at the end of this film. If you've got any final thoughts that you'd want to share with your potential readership.
Well, I'd just be, you know, again, as the writer, you think you've done a certain job, but you don't know if that job's been successful until you get some feedback from the people that are reading it. So it's that I'd like, the feedback.
So if anybody watching this YouTube video who then goes on to buy the book in whatever form would like to post a YouTube video either critiquing the book or talking about their experience, please just make sure that you send us a link so we can connect to that via our Facebook pages and our website, etc. So thank you very much, Stephen Loveless.
All right, thank you very much.